Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Challenge 42 Cutthroats to RHAP podcast. I'm Brian Cohen. With me, as always, is my co-host, Ali Lasher. Ali, how are you?
Like 95% better. We're just talking about that. I think I'm doing better. How are you?
I'm doing better. Sort of better. Almost there better. But yeah, happy to be back. Happy to have my normal voice. I hope people will be like, oh, your voice didn't even change. I think it changed a little bit, but here we are. Another good episode.
Early roast of the listeners. Really quick decor note. So I put this in the Facebook group, but I guess I was rewatching the preview podcast and noticed for the second time that you and your other podcast specific background have a frame photo of your viral tweet.
Yes.
You're not in that room, which is usually an evening indication.
Yes.
I am in a transient place. I'm moving next week. Well, who knows? It might just be a white wall forever, but we'll see. But I will say that my fiance Max did purchase something that he has hung this up in a temporary place. Like I am right in the front room of our apartment, so like I will not be podcasting from here. But for today's podcast, he wanted to put it up and he wanted me to show people. Hold on, wait. Oh, why can't I? Let's my. Oh my god. I practiced this. I practiced showing it a few times.
No, we got a glimpse.
I'm like my nephew FaceTiming where you like can't quite.
It's an on-air light for people just listening. I don't know if you're just listening, you should really jump over to the YouTube.
Like, something about the StreamYard, I'm not able to get it into frame.
No, it's perfect. It's on air. It's in light. It reminds me very much of what they put in Full House for like in the basement, the little recording light. Let people know recording is happening.
Well, that was a lot of mishigas to show that. But I think honestly, I had a doorbell from Claire's when I was a kid. This will hit for one listener, where you could like put it on the outside of your room, you'd stick it on, and like inside a little speaker and it would just like the door would close on the wire.
Uh-huh.
I feel like I need to do this for the room I eventually record in to be an indication, like
right,
we're recording on air. Don't come in.
Do you think Rob has that outside of his studio? I feel like he has to.
Yeah, I don't know. That would be helpful, I think, for him.
Yeah.
More of a joke for me, because like you could come in during this podcast. It's whatever. Certainly, if we're doing NGOG, just please, it's encouraged.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
All right. So hopefully I didn't knock my microphone out. That was crazy. I did practice, even with the wires and everything plugged in.
It's okay. Once the bright lights hit, like the on-air light, you never know what might happen. So it's okay.
All right. We are officially on air. But yeah, this episode had an interesting edit in that we go pretty much immediately to the daily. So like,
yeah,
I have heard that we didn't throw it to commercial correctly in our last week's episode. So not an issue here. We can't throw it to commercial for the daily right now.
I mean, we could try. We could do a commercial 3 minutes in. That would be unprecedented. I would love it. But I mean, I guess we could probably wait. And it was a little jarring that it went straight to the daily so quickly. It was giving like that weird era in like the 30s when they would do all the cliffhangers and like all like the timing were off. But this was just like, no, let's just like jump started at the daily. Which I mean, it's look, if there's nothing to show before we get to the daily, let's just get to the daily. I mean, they kind of had a little bit of like a preamble, it's probably post-amble after the elimination last week. So it was like kind of led up into this episode. So they kind of had that a little bit before the daily.
I mean, the juice was so good later in the episode. I fully embrace this choice to like yada yada whatever may have happened in the in-between. And frankly, sorry, I don't want to be negative. Yada yada that whole daily. I could have just watched the Adrienne, Noreese, and Josh of it all.
Sure.
The full 45 minutes, no problem.
Yeah, I did myself enjoy the daily. I could just quickly set it up. So the daily, this was called Boat
Loser.
Swap. It was Boat Swap. 6 boats, 3 on one side, 3 on another. Basically a slide puzzle with people on boats having to get one boat, having to get the boats to cross over each other with little gaps in between to try to navigate. An easy one to help them set up or to balance the teams, because the people with extra team members had them on the dock, able to kind of play captain a little bit and guide the boat. But yeah, not the most physical challenge, but it had some interesting takeaways a little bit along the way.
Yeah, I'll take the L on this. Self roast. I didn't understand what was happening. It was just like phone game for the airplane. Like you go up, you move here, like, and then frankly, I felt much like Cara Maria. I was shocked to learn the challenge was over. Like when they're like orange and gray, we're like, we've won. I was like, oh, okay, you know what? All right, let's move swiftly on. That's fine. I don't know what happened.
But yeah, I mean, they teased it up at the beginning, saying like, "Oh, I bet this is gonna be a quick challenge." It didn't seem to be that quick. I'm obviously like an editing trick, but they had to kind of formulate it a little bit. But it seemed like there were some mistakes along the way. I mean, that's what it seemed like. I mean, someone described it as a slide puzzle, and that's kind of seemed to be what it was, just with people doing it themselves in boats, not obviously doing a puzzle. The one interesting takeaway, because this challenge was obviously not physical, basically in the slightest, but we did have a confessional. This is a little bit of Chekhov's Leti cardio, because she has an interesting confessional in this one, talking about how she is worried about her cardio, doesn't know how she'll stack up. She does marathons, but usually finishes like very slow. It's an interesting spot that this confessional is brought in, and has no bearing on the challenge. It is not brought up in the rest of the episode. It's not been brought up, to my knowledge, in the previous two episodes. So I guess they're trying to set up this would be what Leti's flaw is, potentially, in the sense of cardio, but I don't know why they couldn't have dropped this confessional when they're doing a cardio challenge. But to me, that was like one of the biggest things. Of like, oh, that's a flag right there.
Yeah, that is interesting, because it is like, was there just not enough meat in this challenge and they needed to throw something in, because even though it was like irrelevant? Or yes, is that going to be like something to watch? I feel like with the challenge, it's 50-50. I felt the same way with Josh's confessional, where we get Josh talking about his family and saying like how he's wanted to be on the show for so long. I was like, uh-oh, Josh visibility spike. And then as the drama ensues, I was like, all right, Josh is going in. No, Josh is just, there. I was like, okay.
Yeah. More so just Josh, like, character building episode, and maybe he's here for like long haul. We got to get to know Josh. The other thing that also was bringing back some fun memories. Like, I love that Nelson's back. It's so fun. I love him. Big fan. He's also a fun person to make fun of. And when we got the confessional of Nelson talking about how he hates losing dailies, it did bring me back to the point that I kind of forgot about, of how bad Nelson is at dailies. And here, we really should have pinpointed this right at the jump. Like, oh, what team is Nelly T on? That's the team that's going to lose all the dailies. Because if there's one thing Nelly does, he loses dailies. And he's over 3. He's probably now like 1 for his last like 82, going back for the last decade he's been on the show. And it's just a moment I kind of forgot about that, about Nelly and the dailies, about how bad he is at it.
Much like jumping ahead, we get a montage of Brad's from 15 seasons. It would have been great to like remind the audience of that. But that's why we're here. Yeah, totally agree. Nelson is seeking mojo. And frankly, he's been seeking daily mojo for years. So not finding it on the blue team.
It's so sad, because it just shows the show, like, no matter how much of a vet you are, like, sometimes you just like get these dailies and sometimes you don't. Sometimes you're just snake bitten, and I don't really know where Nelly T fits in that regard. But like, no matter what it is, it's super physical, it's a running, it's a swimming, it's a puzzle, it's a this or that. He's just the dailies and him just they don't match.
I shouldn't say anxious, because I really enjoyed this episode. So I'm not anxious, but I am excited for when we get to the next phase of whatever this looks like. I mean, TJ has said it's not changing teams, but just like how the mechanism will change, because we talk about momentum a lot when it comes to the challenge. I mean, I think that's true for any competition in general, but television show, whatever, is like, it is tough to win out of this spot. And Blue hasn't been dead last in every challenge, right? Like, they were in second place last week due to cheating, I guess. I don't know.
Due to cheating.
Because Cara won that trivia. So due to cheating and due to Tori not knowing the South Park characters' names, they were in second. But it's like, from the get-go, this team was cursed when Annalie like kind of botched the pick, and Justin and Chris made better teams. We saw it in the preview. Like, the blue team was the weakest team of the 3, most rookies, etc. So it's tough to climb out of this hole without like a real shakeup. And it's interesting that in the preview, we did see Nelson as the one toying with doing the mutiny. So like, okay, like that kind of makes sense that there would be some unrest on the blue team. Shocking to hear that there will be enough people remaining when that happens for him to mutiny, maybe.
Yeah. But it does set up, like, if it's, we see this in many challenges in the past. If the blue team goes into a final and it's like just Nelly and Cara, Like at least that's 2 workhorses, and depending upon what the final is set up, and if it's there's a couple of dead weight on the other 2 teams, like who knows what could happen in a final like that. So it might seem pretty foregone for them getting positions of power, stuff like that. But with the challenge finals, like you never know what it's going to be like. So like even if it's just Cara, like Cara could just win a final on herself, depending on what it is. So who knows?
Well, as Annalie would totally disagree based on what she said at the end of this episode. What is Cara, Shaw?
Right.
Like, the challenge superfan has become the challenge vet hater, which like that's also fun.
It is also tough for Annalie to be the one talking. Like I know she technically didn't pick her own team, but she was part of the picking teams process.
Big
and she was
botch.
like, "Oh, this team sucks. What kind of loser put this team together?" It's like, "Oh, did I do that? Oh, my bad."
Yeah, maybe she wasn't banking on the first 2 episodes premiering back to back, so she thought she'd have a couple more weeks so we'd forget that she was like, "I love Cara. Cara's like my all-time favorite."
Right. Yeah.
What has Cara done?
not a great first 3 episodes for Annalie. Not.
Yeah, what do you think like the read is on her? I mean, I'm gonna ask you what like you think the general audience thinks for no reason. Like we don't have a poll of the general audience.
Sure.
What do you think the reaction is to Annalie right now?
Yeah, I love wildly speculating on what the opinions of the general internet about an individual person. This is gonna go great.
He had a viral tweet. We got to ask you. They're finger on the pulse.
My guess is they probably haven't really given her much thought. I think she probably is probably pretty forgettable at this point. I mean, I think there's so many more interesting characters going on. I think if you come out of this episode with much of a thought about Annalie, like as you said, you're missing the whole Noreese, Adrienne, Josh fiasco, which was a fantastic highlight. You're missing like the blue team's like sucking again. You're missing Keanu doing all these great things. There's so many more fun storylines coming out of this episode. Like Annalie is like item Q on the list.
Brian really said, "Hate isn't the opposite of love; it's indifference."
And I'm indifferent. I am indifferent to Annalie.
All right, so Bananas immediately is targeting Chris and Sydney on the Gray team. He wants to push the Gray team to show their cards, which is the exact right play. It's the first time Gray hasn't been in power.
Yep.
Deb is also the winning captain next to Bananas. We will not hear one thing from Deb until the nominations in the arena at the end of the
wouldn't
episode.
know it. It could have been anyone. You could have been the winning captain, and we would have had as much knowledge into your thought process. So it's okay.
You'll have more. You'll get more of my thought process than Deb's. So, just to level set again, the format's confusing. Corey and Noreese will have a choice of one man between Chris, Leo, or Keanu, and then the rest of the team will vote in one of the other 2 men not chosen. All of the blue team, Josh, Nelson, and Brad, will be up for grabs by Bananas' sole selection.
Yeah. And as this was playing out, I don't know if we talked about what a better format it would have been last week, but I realized I think they just swapped what the rules should have been. Like, it should have been if you finish second, anyone's up for grabs that the winning captains could vote in. And if you're last, the losing captain is automatically up potentially, and then they vote for who the other person is. Like, I think
I don't have a problem with the winning captains of second place being safe, but I just think there needs to be a punishment for being captain. Otherwise, it's
and that's what it could have
annoying.
Been.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, they're also just like too much emphasis on the captains. Why does the winning team's captains get to decide the elimination? Like, I don't.
Yeah,
that's ridiculous. But here we are, and hopefully it will change at some point. Basically, Orange team, very straightforward. They want to target Chris. They're assuming Keanu is going to be voted in. And Tori, interestingly, is like acknowledging that she's playing the middle. We later hear from Noreese that like Michelle and Chris are also like number 1. So again, we just keep hearing Chris is very well insulated this season, which was really not his strength at all on his last season.
Yeah, well, there's a few Survivor players. Obviously, Chris and Michelle both have like the winning Survivor circle to go about. Chris was very impressive on his one season, so I would imagine like people coming out of that season would be like, "Oh, let me butter up to Chris to make sure I'm friends with him," assuming he's back on a season. So it's someone who a lot of people would want to get close to. Shout out Matt Ligori. So it's not surprising that Chris has a lot of fans.
True. So a lot of the action is happening also on the blue team. What is very interesting that, spoiler alert, will ultimately not result in drama is I think the show really tees up well that Josh, Nelson, and Brad all assume they are safe with Bananas. We learn that Josh and Bananas have had a friendship in Florida for 4 years. Brad is kind of resting on vet laurels, and Nelson is just like, everyone thinks Bananas won't throw me in, so it's Josh or Brad. So like, Banana's very lucky. I don't think it was his intention to get rid of Brad, spoiler alert, but he doesn't end up with this blowing up in his face. Brad doesn't do kind of a Cedric level expose when he gets down in the arena. So Banana's hands are clean for now, but it looks like he's, as usual, got his hands in a lot of pots.
Yeah, I think the way they were setting it up, it definitely seemed like Josh was going to get out of this. It's basically a 4-year friendship. Like, Bananas would make sense to be loyal, especially to someone who really doesn't have a lot of loyalty elsewhere. Like, you got to keep someone like that for his own sake. The Nelson of it all was interesting. I don't know if this is just like, it's his first time back, let's give him a pass for like this voting thing, because it's not like Bananas and Nelson have been close to anything. They've usually been on opposite sides of most house structures. So it's not like it's like Leroy coming back, and it's like obviously Bananas is not going to vote in Leroy. Like, Nelson and Bananas have not been close at all. So yeah, I don't know if that's something that would continue going forward, or if that really was, if it's just like a one-time, I'm going to give Nelly T a pass in this regard.
Yeah, I think it definitely sounded more like that when he said it. He's like, no one thinks Bananas will throw me in. It's not like Bananas made a deal. Banana promise, we're close. Banana promise. But we do hear kind of like a unique take that we haven't heard. Not that it's the first time in challenge history we've heard this, but the first time this season, where Bananas is going to make a decision when he sees the elimination. That's another like huge advantage we didn't talk about, or I should say disadvantage for the losing team. That like, A, they don't know who's going in, so they all have to be prepared. And B, like, it could change on a dime based on what you see in the elimination.
Yeah, it could. Some of them obviously like aren't as clear. Like this one's like you see numbers. It's got to be a puzzle. Like this obviously wasn't a puzzle. It was a very physical elimination. So it's some of them were tough to know. Obviously, if you see like a pole in the middle of a circle or things like that, like some things are more clear. But they do a decent job, especially when doing like a new elimination, of kind of disguising exactly what like the theme or genre is until like TJ kind of explains it.
Right. I mean, I think the best you could get from this is that it wouldn't be physical, and then like it was physical. But yeah, I mean, God saves his toughest challenges for his strongest soldiers. Like, imagine picking who to be in a puzzle between Nelson, Josh, and Brad. If you wanted one of them to win, ooh,
still be going on. I think
tough one.
Yeah.
Tough one.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about the grade team, because this was confusing to me. Like, Leo to me almost has something cooking here, where he's like, if our team nominates Chris as one of the two options, he will be nominated by Bananas. So your best thing would be to want Chris nominated, even if you are also nominated. Now, that's very self-preservation. I think there's a lot of team versus strategy dynamics going on that don't really add up. But then he's like, he thinks Chris is brokering a deal, suggesting that either Bananas or Cory and Noreese, I couldn't really follow. Like, if they put in him, they'll save Keanu. Like, what is he talking about? Like, like Leo just like loses the plot completely.
Yeah, I kind of didn't get that regard. You were explaining. I liked his first point. It made sense, at least from their other men's regard. Like, oh, like if we vote in Chris, he's gonna go in. I think if you're trying to make that point though, from like the rest of the team, I think they might be thinking, well, we don't want Chris, especially for the women. Like, oh, we don't want Chris to go in. He's kind of like our linchpin. He's been kind of guiding us through these our dailies. He's like our leader. We don't want him to go in. So if you're telling us we throw in Chris, he's gonna go in, then we're not gonna vote him in. So it was kind of like a double-edged sword pitch of like, it's good for some people, but good for not, and it didn't really land fully there.
Right. And like, why would Chris broker that deal to target Keanu? Like, to me, it's really 6 of 1 to Chris, as long as he's fine. So Leo's always a little that he's like always close to something, but then like there's something else. It also bothered me. I think Brad and Leo both get like across the board on, I don't know how that picks up on the mic, but at being unwilling to try, like, where Leo's saying here, I'm not going to go to Bananas and A, talk about this at all, B, make a deal. And I loved Izzy just being like, you could at least like try to not get nominated.
Right.
Like, I'm over this. Like, you're not tough because you don't want to strategize. That's not begging. That's not like, make a deal.
Right. That's like I think it was in the first episode, right? There were some people were talking about how do you avoid elimination? A, you win a daily. B, you politic. And some people just like jump over the B part and go straight to like, all right, I'll go into the elimination. Like, this is a third of the game, if not more, based on how you slice it, of how you stay in the game and win. So of course you should try. Yeah, it doesn't mean you have to like, throw your morals away to some degree, but you can be like, hey, John, if you keep me safe when I'm in captainship, I'll keep you, or something like that. I don't know. Toss out the deal. If he spits in your face, he does it. Then you move on with your life. And then, like, you're not going to have to do it again. But especially for Bananas, like, of all the people, Bananas would be one of the more willing people to always wheel and deal. So, of course, you should at least offer it up to him.
Yeah, 100%. And Brad, too, is like, sorry to drag him. I know I dragged him in the preview. No one really was upset about it. But, like, you can't just rest on like, oh, we've been doing challenges together. We've been coworkers, contract coworkers for 15 years on and off. That is like insufficient to assume that you wouldn't get voted in.
Right. Especially again, like Brad and Bananas are usually not really working together. So, and you want to put, we could vote in a rookie, as they point out, like Josh and Bananas probably are closer than Brad and Bananas really have ever been. It's not some schlub that Bananas has never met before that he could just like vote in. So very flawed logic from Brad, but that's, that's Brad.
He's playing an all-stars game, right? He's playing the, like, I'm with Derek K, I'm with Nehemiah, like I'm with some like older people I have real history with. And like Bananas, frankly, has to play a more adapted game to the new era. One, because he desperately wants to be relevant in every season. And the other is like, he needs to work with new people because the old people don't necessarily want to work with him. They put him in the first week.
Totally. I also want to, if we get to the Noreese and Corey decision, because this is the one that, to me, has led me to be the most baffled. So Noreese and Corey are having a conversation of basically the sense of Keanu's going to be at least half the vote. So we can either make the hard choice between Leo and Chris and let them just like make the easy vote to voting Keanu, or we could do the Keanu vote and then force the team to like splinter and show their cards. So at least we know where they stand and they're going to vote it. With the sense of like, all right, well, if we vote in Keanu's not going to be that mad at me. He knows he's going in. He could be mad at the whole team. It's not going to be a direct shot at me. If I vote in like Leo or Chris, it might be more of a direct shot. With the knowledge that it seems like if they do that, might be a stalemate. I'm sure they would have discussed the votes going in. So it turns out for Noreese, instead of having maybe the direct vote to vote one person in, she has said, I'm going to make the direct vote to vote two people in to guarantee that one of those people is in the elimination. The other one is safe, but still mad at me. And the other one could also be safe and be mad at me. And I may have like just fractured our team chemistry. And now we might then lose and our whole team might go downhill altogether. I don't understand the step-by-step logic that was playing out here.
Yeah, I think the other con of like putting in Keanu and then later having to be the sole vote to nominate Leo is like at least maybe you could share the blame with Corey. Like you're not just the sole person who made the decision, sort of narrowing the blood to literally just your hands. So I agree. Like at first when she was saying it, I was like, this is very good. Like I think this is good. Once it went to a stalemate, I was like, oh, this is quite bad. I had the same thought. Like I at that point, I think you just make the Leo decision, especially because Keanu's, well, I guess the flip side is like Keanu's already been a captain. So you're already putting yourself in a position where Leo, I think by default is the captain next week and it's a girls' day. Right. So like you're also like doing the most to splinter the team and piss him off. I don't know. Like maybe there should have been more pre-work with Leo of like, I don't think Leo wanted Chris to really be the nominee either, because I think he thinks Chris is good for the team. I think they were all struggling with that. So maybe there was a version of like, Leo, Bananas, and Noreese have a conversation. Like it's going to be Keanu as the pick. We just need like, Leo, I need you to stand on the block because otherwise Chris will get thrown in. Some kind of like broader work than just flubbing it and stabbing both Keanu and Leo.
Yeah, it didn't play out great, and I just don't think like if your best case scenario is, I get to watch my team self implode and split up like that. That should be like what other teams are trying to get you to do. You shouldn't do that for their team. It's like that doesn't seem to be the best way to go about it.
On the flip side, like I do think Noreese, and it's actually interesting what motivates Noreese to protect Chris. Like she says, I'm close to Michelle, Michelle's close to Chris, therefore the friend of my friend is my friend. But on Noreese's team, Noreese is a distant third in terms of Sydney and Cassidy being Chris's 1-2 girls. You are a distant third. So while I think they need Chris is the clear leader of their team. He's extremely strong. Nobody wants to get rid of him for team challenges. They are likely to keep winning. This was sort of, everybody any given Sunday. However, if she saves Leo, could she start a new top 3 with like a Leo, a Corey, her, and move up? Which is more important, your team strength or you having the votes if your team is voting you in?
Yeah. No, it's a great point. And the fact that all of other like it's a weird structured game. It's not like you could be third if this was like a full cast voting system. It's like that's fine because it's very unlikely that Chris has to choose between like his top 3. That's like a very narrow choice that it might only be something that's like very much at the end game. Like there's very specific people you can only be voting for on any given weekend. Noreese is in that box of like that is a specific choice, and you're not going to win that choice unless other people start getting eliminated along the way. So it's not the clearest path for her.
Right. If you're protecting someone who you wouldn't really have a right to be mad at if when push came to shove, they voted you in, that's a bad place to be in an alliance, right? Like Leo had a kind of a right to be mad at Noreese, so I can't really like say Leo did 0 gameplay. Like if Chris had to pick between the 3 of them and voted Noreese, I don't think Noreese would feel like she had a right to be mad, and that's a dangerous spot.
Right. And I'm sure that could very much happen like very soon, in like as soon as next week.
All right. Well, I'm over that. That was exhausting. Let's talk about the juice. Like we made it through the wilderness. Tori's birthday. Thank you to Tori for being born. Happy mother freaking birthday, belated. Shout out to your Pisces pool party. It really did bring some crazy moon energy out of these people. Woo! Old school, vintage, challenge living.
Yeah, I love that Leti was like, some people study tape on like how people play games, what their strategy is, what they're good at in dailies. Like she's like, no, I'm gonna study tape to see what people do to celebrate birthdays. And I see that people dress in drag, the girls dress in drag as guys. So I'm gonna be prepared for Tori's birthday to bring my wig, and I'm gonna be ready to go.
Oliver Closeoff versus Carlos Murillos was
I think so.
The name. I think it was the evolution. I feel like she was Carl at some point. And there's been just like a drag evolution, which I love. Synchronized swimming, mermaid fashion show, CT in a Speedo announcing into a wiener, like Tori's entrance. Like it was great. If that would have been great on its own, fun party.
Keanu, as some would say.
Keanu. I didn't want to say it again, but I was thinking it is like this Noreese and Josh. And I have been doing research. Audience, one listener, whoever is there.
Mm-hmm.
First of all, I rewound this 300 times to do a play-by-play footage on like where the hand was, where the arm was, what happened. So desperately need to break that down. But I'm just going to put the question up. I need to understand what, if anything, Noreese and Josh had going on, because it is giving Will and Dee at the hotel or I am going to interpret this. I feel like I'm a backup dancer. I'm going to interpret this as though there's no prior relationship that we don't know about other than Noreese and Josh met once, like Josh said. If it should come out after the airing of this podcast that Josh was all over Noreese, wanted Noreese, tried for her in the hotel, we will come back here next week. We will discuss that. But until then, I have to read what's on the screen. Like I have
We
to
can
go
o-
by
we
what's
can
on the screen.
only deal with the footage we have in front of us. But also, there's an important thing to remember throughout this whole topic is Noreese is going through a breakup. So, like, we have to keep that under, you got to remember that. Noreese is going through a breakup. So that's important to remember.
Everybody knows.
Everyone knows. Going through a breakup. It's a long process. Get the stuff out of each other's apartments, sign all the paperwork. It's going through a breakup.
Okay, but whose team are you on this before we break it down? Like, Your Honor, I will be representing Jay Goldman or whatever his name is, Josh Goldstein.
I mean, I believe women. I'm a big proponent of that, but I don't see how you could not be on Josh's side with this. Like, Adrienne comes across as like a little bit of a Looney Tune here.
Okay, so everyone's by the pool. There is a seemingly love seat style plastic pool chair.
Mm-hmm.
Many people around in the pool, behind them, parties hopping. Shout out to Tori's birthday. Adrienne and Josh are sitting next to each other. Oh, thank God we're on video for this. I would have had to do a special video podcast. Adrienne gets up.
Bring up the PowerPoint.
I was gonna screenshot, but honestly, I was too in the weeds. I was too enjoying it. I couldn't like I'll get my phone. I'd have to like the picture I showed of Leti's foot yesterday. Like, that would be like, so there's a bench facing the pool.
Mm-hmm.
Adrienne gets up. Adrienne walks away. Josh is sitting with his elbow perpendicular to the bench, open a little bit, hanging out laying back like a cool person sitting in a chair. I can't like really reenact this. Just imagine a cool person sitting in a chair. Do I need to bring my mic closer? Okay, cool person sitting in a chair. Elbow hanging in the back, intruding on the other seat's space. Okay. Yeah. Noreese comes. Noreese sits down. He hinges at the elbow to then rest his forearm on the back of the bench. At times during the conversation, his hand is literally grabbing the back of the chair. Mm-hmm. Okay. She is leaning forward. She's not even leaning back. There is no contact. Even if there was contact between the front of his forearm and her back, non-issue. But it was almost uncomfortable how unnatural they were sitting, frankly. Right. There was nothing sexual about the body language of this interaction. And maybe that is bringing me back to Adrienne's side. Maybe it looked so uncomfortable that something had to have been going on.
Just an incredible description. I really felt like I was at the pool watching it happen. Just the unhinging. There must have been a second spitter. No. The fact that Adrienne not only doubles down, triples, quadruples down is I know body language. And that body language to me was screaming we have a history. We have and the fact that she, kudos to Adrienne because she's incredible manipulator. The fact that she gets at the end of this conversation, Josh to apologize to her, and she gets the confessional being I'm so happy Josh gets to just prove it that he knows that he was in the wrong. Make Adrienne the freaking attorney general. She is incredible at the way she's able to spin stuff. Just impressive stuff.
I have to love Adrienne. Thank God for her. This was the best moment in challenge history when she's I will say I can't stand the reality TV trope of I'm not the jealous type or normally I wouldn't care about something like this, and then goes on to explain the situation exactly as it is. No nuance. Right. There's nothing special about the situation. It's oh no, you have a problem with him sitting next to a woman. That's the only issue. Now, again, and actually I've now talked myself into if her complaint was they clearly seem like they have history. Okay. I think she was accusing them of flirting, which no one could accuse them of flirting.
Yeah, no, her thing was not oh, I know that they have history and it's it's awkward now, but it's because of their history. No, she was saying in this moment, I know body language. I don't need to see what the words are being said. They're basically saying, I want to go to the boom boom room with you right now, and I want to leave Adrienne in the dust. Ooh. That's what they were saying. And I know body language, and that's clearly what they're saying. That was what is in Adrienne's mind. Maybe she was maybe Adrienne's actually upset, and maybe I'm saying her name wrong, but maybe she's actually just upset that Josh doesn't know her name because the way he pronounces Adrienne. I don't think is actually how you pronounce her name. I know he said he doesn't know Noreese's last name. I don't think she knows. I don't think he knows Adrienne's first name. So that could also be part of like this whole issue.
I am loving the like fact that we talked about people's last names, and now that's coming up every single episode of like who knows what last name.
Unbelievable! It's so perfect. It's great.
We're living in a simulation.
Mateo, is that her last name? Noreese?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, nailed it.
No, I think Noreese is one of the most knowable last names. Like, honestly, Josh a little bit overcorrects, and he's like, I barely know her. I've never seen her. I don't even know her last name. I was like, again, please let me know if we've been missing something.
Did you unhinge purposely? What was the unhinging?
Nothing sexier than this motion. Like,
the scarecrow.
Yeah.
With a robot.
So when Adrienne confronts Josh, cackling, just not since the ramen noodles, you know, like it was just like something special about this. It is fortunate or unfortunate. Josh seems to be preparing like he could be going into elimination. I'm never out here blaming alcohol like as the enemy. I don't want to accuse Adrienne of drinking. It seemed like Adrienne was maybe having more fun at that party than Josh, so I'm not sure. But kudos to Josh, who stayed like completely at one. Like he never like escalated beyond this. Like when normally a challenge fight would kind of go from like who took my pizza to like your father hates you and like everything. This was like I don't have anything going on with Noreese. I don't know her. I don't think you're stupid at all. I would like to keep seeing you. I would be happy to talk about this another time. It's like, okay, Josh. Healed king.
I wish we could talk about the alcohol, but Adrienne, again, the next morning, unless it was the alcohol was still flowing with the mimosas at breakfast, she was still like on her point of saying this was what happened. And I'm glad Josh is now seeing the light and is on my side.
It is tough because if you feel like you saw something at a party and you made a huge scene on television, tough to in the morning be like, maybe that wasn't true. And also like Josh is new in the house. Josh doesn't seem to have like a ton of great friends. And he's got Leti and Justin, everyone like egging it, legitimizing it almost. It was absolutely incredible. And then I thought, this is incredible. We're back. We're so back. This is amazing. And then Noreese gets involved. And now I'm like, we don't deserve this. What have we done to deserve this perfect television moment? Noreese is now going to have the most insane response to nothing. Like nothing has happened. And Noreese is going to now give us a beautiful moment between her and Adrienne.
And you know what? And Michelle needs to take a page out of Banana's textbook. Like when something's about to happen, don't be like, no, Noreese, think about what you want to say. No, don't think about it. Just go, Noreese. You do your thing. Michelle needs to learn how to play a little bit of reality TV producer here.
Now, Josh catching a number of strays again that would either suggest that there's something that has happened before them weird. Like Noreese is through the grapevine misunderstood as though like Adrienne's mad at her that like she wants her man. Noreese dropping a few too many, like as if he wishes, like you think he's way too short. I would never date such a short man. Ooh, okay. Like I don't.
Josh seems like a good-looking guy. I don't know. Seems like he could do worse.
Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. I think she was like responding to the wrong accusation. But like again, that's Noreese, and I loved it, and I love her for it.
It was now you're kind of convincing me because now it's a little bit like you doth protest too much. Like maybe there is a little bit like maybe there was like alcohol that one night something happened, and then there's like a little bit of a regret, and now she's like saying, "Oh, he's gross. I wouldn't do it." But maybe they actually kind of did something. I don't know.
If we have to come back next week and undo all this, that would be my joy. Like I hope this continues to spiral. I think it'll be a little bit more like Will and Dee, and we'll never hear about it again. Probably. But it did. I loved it, and I love Josh with like the button on the whole thing of like, well, Noreese hasn't approached Adrienne like maybe the way I would, but like she hasn't said anything incorrect.
AKA, I would just apologize and gravel and beg on their feet, but like Noreese can take the other way to approach. That's one way to go.
Yeah, when he apologized, I was like, for what and for why? I am losing my mind. This poor guy just like desperately wants to be on the show. Like he's trying living his dream. He feels like kind of insulated with Bananas. He's got this like a hot girl that he's having a good time with. And just like, I was like so afraid he was going to go home this episode. I was like, he can't go home on this.
And then the way like Adrienne laughing at the end of it is giving like, oof, this is a lot to be dealing with, and good for Josh to be diving back in.
And I do want to flag, Leti does say, now, I don't know how Leti would have this information, because Leti seems like extremely disconnected. Like, she was not in Big Brother. She's not in any challenge stuff before. We haven't heard that she like works out at Bananas' gym or whatever. So for her to be like, I've heard that Noreese and Josh like had a thing where Josh wanted her and Noreese rejected him, so then he settled for Adrienne. Like, we do get that insight from, I don't know why, from Leti. Again, I need to hear more about this. I have scrubbed Reddit. I can't find any interaction between Josh and Noreese before this.
It's also the type of thing, like, I don't know when they met. I don't know if it was like they met like when they say they met like at the airport. That's what they consider, or if they met like a year ago or 6 months ago or whatever it was. I mean, at that point, he had never met Adrienne before. So how do you even know like that is technically his second? Even if that plays out that way, that might not be his second choice. He had just met Noreese first and then meeting Adrienne second. So even if that was a thing, I'm not giving Adrienne credit for that. Unless like there literally was like a hookup, then sure, we can have a different conversation. But other than that, I'm still not giving her the benefit of that here.
And like, for anyone joining us this season, right? Like, last season, Will and Dee like made out in the hotel in Sequester, and then there was drama that unfolded on the episode because she started hooking up with Bananas, and Will like had a reaction that frankly was too strong a reaction for even what had happened between them.
Right.
But he had way too strong a reaction for just like, I had a mild flirtation and crush on a girl that I met yesterday, and now I'm losing my mind. And I forget, like, they addressed it weirdly on the show, like a few episodes in or an episode in, and he was like, we've hooked up before. Like, they didn't say it was 3 days ago. So,
right.
But the internet kind of found out. So maybe this could be something like that, where like he made a pass at her on night 1 based on them meeting in like the airport, and they just don't want to talk about it because it's sort of in a no man's land of the showtime. But
I'll say this: of all the people involved, I'm most glad it's Noreese, because the Twitter fingers will be going, and we'll get at least her side of the story very, very quickly. So I'm not concerned about that.
Watch this space. But unfortunately, I guess we have to go back to talking about the rest of the episode. But like, love, and not to say anything about the rest of the episode. I just really living for this moment.
I don't know where else are we? Did we do the nominations, or did we get through that? No. Maybe.
Yeah. Well, the one thing, so where I am in my notes is the Gray Team's nomination, where, but first Keanu tries to appeal. Oh, go ahead.
Let's pause here. We're more than 3 minutes in, so I feel like this is a good time. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back with Gray's nomination. All right, we're back. Let's jump right in.
He's a pro. I mean, for all we know, the commercial has already aired, and we didn't.
We don't know.
Keanu, and I know you keep telling me this, and the listeners are writing this, and I'm just accepting it, is like, Keanu just has 0 sense, not zero game sense, but like 0 sense of the relationships in the house, not only from like a pre-existing relationship standpoint, but just like understanding what you're seeing in front of you. So like when he goes to Cassidy to try to get Cassidy to vote out Chris, I respect the like attempt that he's trying. But like, it's just, she's not going to vote out the only person she's like really connected to at all in the house.
Yeah, at least he has the game sense to recognize like where the potential swing vote, I guess, is. And, you know, it's a bit like we can't knock someone like Leo for not going to Bananas to try to make a deal.
100%.
And then, you know, be like, Keanu, why are you even trying? Like, I think it's worth the shot. I think you might be able to pitch it a little better and like basically talk up the fact that like Cassidy, like Chris is not gonna like protect you. He's building his own things. Like, you could be my number one. Like, let's do this thing together. Like, I lost my big brother people. I don't have like a number one girl in the house. Like, you could be that. Like, I could be like the team leader. Like, we could like come together. Like, there's a way to package it that maybe you can swing it, but like, I just don't think he did enough in the pitch to like get Cassidy on his side.
I almost like think the Hail Mary move is to pitch Chris. Is to like try to ingrain yourself with, because the other thing is you're not trying with 0 consequence, right? You're like trying, but you're possibly putting yourself in a bad place with Chris and Cassidy moving forward. Now, granted, they probably already is in a bad place because he's the scapegoat person who's going to go in. But I don't know, like maybe there's an appeal to the team of like, we need to put our like strongest foot forward. We need your leadership. You go in, face bananas. You're right. You're right. He didn't have a great play. It just felt like he wasn't approaching this like with an awareness of where Cassidy and Chris sit.
Yeah,
but maybe that's
yeah. I think he was. I mean, look, I think he was. This was like he knows what to do. I think honestly, what probably could have been more the move was like try to like find a way to. I guess probably seems even less unlikely, but get himself completely like have it be Leo and like have Leo be like the main vote, or have Chris be the main vote, and then get like Leo to be the house vote or something like, or the team vote, and try to like separate himself in total regard. Like if you go to Noreese maybe and like pitch Chris is like, why don't you vote in Chris, and I can rally the votes to get Leo, and then Chris could go in or something like that. I guess that's kind of more the move, especially if you think Chris is going to go in no matter what. Like if you actually, that's probably the move, right? If you tell Corey and Noreese to vote in Chris, even if Keanu is voted in by the team, you're going to be safe because Bananas is going to vote in Chris. So I guess you could try to pitch Noreese more like that.
Right. Pitching it more like the Sydney, Chris, Cassidy, our trio.
Right. Like
we Noreese, could have we need our own like majority.
Right. Like,
yeah.
Which is fair because also like it is true. Like when it comes to shove, like Chris is going to choose Sydney over Noreese for sure. And then I guess maybe probably Cassidy over Noreese. Maybe that could be kind of swayed through the season, but like it's based off at least prior history. He's certainly closer with Cassidy. So Noreese is third, and like with 4 women, that's not a great place to be.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. All right, so it ends up being what we've already talked about. Corey and Noreese nominate Keanu. There's a deadlock vote between Leo and Chris. It's funny that Chris is like, this is short-sighted to stalemate when, I mean, maybe he just didn't feel confident that he would necessarily be the pick.
Right.
But Noreese picks Keanu versus Leo. I guess she picks Leo, not Keanu versus Leo. Yeah, it is also interesting, I guess, Leo and Chris kind of like have it out where Leo is saying like, I'm taking repercussions for what you did. Like if you wanted to take a shot at Bananas, like you should be the one paying for it. It's like has absolutely nothing to do with that.
No,
like,
just Chris has way more friends on this team, and just kind of it broke out that way.
I don't know if he was like trying to say if you didn't have a fight with Bananas, you would have been the nominee because you wouldn't have necessarily been thrown in. Like, no, they still wouldn't nominate the strongest leader of their team to be vulnerable.
Totally. And also, Leo, like, I was gonna say, like, Leo probably also should have realized that, like, it's probably gonna be Keanu going in anyway. Like, as long as you don't make too much of a stink about it and like go against too many other people, they're probably gonna vote in Keanu. So just kind of like stay back a little bit.
And like, why is the rationale like Keanu is physically a better asset to the team than Leo? Like, is that why they're voting Keanu in, or are they making a like? Are they making a weaken the gray team pick, or are they making a we don't want to take shots at vets yet? I mean,
it's weird because the rationale Bananas was saying was like the main focus is to weaken the gray, but I mean, I guess the best way to weaken the gray is kind of the way it almost played out, which was like just have them fracturing a little bit and have like split up a little bit, have different disputes and things like that. I mean, obviously the best case would be knocking out one of the guys, but I don't think like getting Brad to do it like that doesn't seem to be like, oh, we have to like use one of the Blues' strongest players to get a gray person. You're voting in Brad. Like he's not like some powerhouse. He's not like voting in like a strong like puzzle. I don't know. It seemed like it was more so just like getting them to fight amongst each other.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, I'm not like really sure how people view Leo. Like Leo is not a puzzle person. Leo is reasonably physical. I don't think anybody views him as like, oh, if Leo's on the team running the final, like he's a huge asset. No. I think Keanu probably is, excuse me, more of a physically dominating person. I would say between Keanu and Leo, it's like maybe weakening them would just be like losing a member, like bringing the numbers back down should be the focus. Right. In which case I probably would have put Leo in, but
yeah.
I'm just a person here with a microphone.
But it's also even the way even Keanu's like one of his last confessions was like people thought I would be good at this, and like there's a sense of like we don't really know what they have in Keanu. Like you can kind of see him a little bit in dailies, but we've seen big, buff, strong guys, and like they flame out all the time on the challenge. So now they know like, oh, he actually is like a very physical player. He knows like how to like maneuver and do these different things. And now he does look like what people would think he would be.
He gave us a show.
Mm-hmm. He did. In the elimination, which the elimination is called winning numbers. 10 numbers on a big board. Each competitor's hooked up to a harness. TJ pulls the ball out of a bucket. You have to race up, climb the mount thing, and hit their button above the number. Blue and gray on one side. You have to hit the button, not just smash the number.
Yeah, I thought it was called Best of 12 because that's the only thing I wrote down. I was like 12, but then it was riveting. Like I loved watching this.
Locked in, incredible elimination. Keanu was great. I mean, it was a very physical elimination. This would have been like normally you would think this is right up also Brad's alley because it doesn't involve a lot of like thinking and just like physical climb go. But I think that probably also helped Keanu a little bit. But Keanu was able to like throw his weight around and really knock Brad out a couple times. But Brad, I mean, it was weird. It was like a dominating effort. But Brad was like right there for a lot of them. Like a couple of them were like, yeah, Keanu can like, showboat and hit the button easily. But for the first one, Brad kind of got there first. He just kind of screwed up what he was supposed to do. So the other ones were like very close to it. So it was a blowout, but it wasn't like Brad like was like we've seen much, much worse blowouts in like eliminations.
Yeah, I mean, we definitely saw a worse blowout this season, but
Right.
I thought that, and it was kind to Brad in that they gave him a little bit of a, I don't want to say swan song tribute of his 15 seasons. Oh, really?
I wrote it. Is this Brad's farewell? It's like I can't recall any other time Brad's got eliminated. He had like the whole like look back at Brad's history thing. It's not like that's not like a thing that like they highlight for Brad a lot of the times. Like is like 15 years on the show, maybe because it's like 15 now. That's like a nice roundish number, but it really did feel like I almost thought he was going to say it afterwards. Not that I don't want to hear retirements, but it did feel like he was like, all right, guys, there's all these new big physical guys coming up. The show's in a great place, a lot of good personalities. I could back off. Like my watch is over. It kind of felt like that's where he was going. And then he kind of walked off. We didn't see that, but it did feel like that was the vibe that the show was giving off.
Of all the people to do that, I don't think we will ever get that from Brad. We may have already gotten it from Brad at some point, but like I don't think we'll get this from current day Brad. I think Brad will come back as many times as they'll have him.
Can I give it to him right now? Like that should be it.
I tried in the preview. I was like, why? I think if Brad does, I will always speculate that if Brad says he's not coming back, it's because he wasn't right. But
right. No,
I mean, look, to your point, I think the edit was kind to him because I think the first few they showed in in full, he was very close. And then I do think the last few, when they kind of started yada-yadding it was very like Keanu was dominant. And like he ran into a refrigerator. Like, what do you want him to do? I think I don't even think this challenge demonstrated like Brad is washed in any respect. I think I'm trying to think if there's anyone up there, certainly of the eligible blue members, Josh, Nelson, and Brad. I don't think that goes any different for any of them. And that's a pretty broad range of like rookie to veteran in terms of the experience level.
Yeah, totally.
Keanu is going to be a big problem for every other team. And I think Chris, frankly, unless Keanu defects and like is like, I'm going to throw the challenge if you keep voting me in and makes deals with the other team, which he's already closer with members of the other team than his own team. It's a great plan to just have Keanu be your, I don't know, cleanup crew in the arena.
Yeah, and it's almost good for the other teams too, in a sense of like, oh, we could just vote in. We want to take out Bananas, let's have Keanu do it. Oh, we want to take out Nelson, let's have Keanu do it. Like Keanu could just be like the wrecking ball for all these other teams. The one thing that does kind of hurt that a little bit is like people do want Chris out. So like it's at some point, especially with the way like the voting goes, like Chris is going to be like up there to be voted in. So as much as the great team might want Keanu to be like their headhunter to go knock people out, it's not really necessarily up to them. And I think people are going to want to get Chris out, and then maybe after that could just all be Keanu. But for the Keanu, he kind of has Chris is a little bit of a shield.
No, it's a great point. It's like, but I think the other issue is like Gray's going to win a lot potentially. Like they have a high likelihood to win dailies. Then it's like, all right, if they don't win, they feel very unlikely to like lose full out where you'd have your pick of anyone. And then how much control can Gray exert and how much do they care to exert? I think those are two different questions of like, do they play it against who's in power? Do they put, Tori is the captain on Orange and they put Chris against Keanu, like somebody who's really close. Nelson is the captain on Blue and they won and they put Corey versus Keanu. Like, could they play it like that? But you're right. It is much harder to control.
Yeah, I'll say who this is great for though. If you're looking out for like who actually probably will be here, like if you're guessing who's here like middle of October, Leo and Corey are in a great spot because they have to go through Chris and Keanu before they're ever going to nominate or vote in Corey or Leo to go elimination. So I think those two are riding high for the next like month or two.
Yeah, no, it's a great point. Another, and maybe I'm like over obsessed about like the ways these guys are going to over manipulate and over engineer. When they announced the new captains for Women's Day, where it's like Orange is going to be Will and Izzy, Gray is going to be Leo and Cassidy, and Nelson and Cara are going to be captains for Blue. My first thought is like, okay, Noreese cannot have Gray come in second place because she will be the presumptive choice from Cassidy and Leo to be their nominee. So is she incentivized to throw it and try to be in last place?
But isn't that the same thing? Because whether you're still up for elimination, all right? And then it's
but you're not like one of two picks. So maybe she feels like if Josh isn't captain, let me see. So I'd have to like really work this out, which I haven't done. Is like, let's say she feels like there's more groundswell to put Cassidy in if Cassidy was available.
Like I generally like the captain stuff again. Like it washes over me. Who's the Orange captain? That's probably like the more important question.
The Orange captain is Izzy, who's not going to put Adrienne in. So if it was going to be like her and Adrienne, Will.
So let's say Orange wins. Are Will and who's it? Adrienne?
Izzy.
Will and Izzy. Are they going to vote in Noreese or are they going to vote in Sydney or Cassidy?
Well, here's the perfect plan. So Cassidy is the captain. If Gray comes in second place, Cassidy will be safe, and she's working closely with Sydney. So it would and like Sydney, I think, has the votes on the team. So it could be Adrienne and Noreese, in which case Izzy would not put Adrienne in.
Right. So
Noreese has a better play if all four of them are up for grabs, probably. Like they seem less connected to Cassidy, then Noreese could maybe work them over.
So for Noreese, it's like win or lose, one of their second. Yeah. It's a tough balance. It's a tough balance because obviously the best case you just win to avoid it all together. So it's tough because especially like one of these challenges, it's like it's all happening at the same time. It's kind of chaotic. I mean, who knows now? At a certain point, it's gonna get a little weird because now it's like 8-8-5 going into next week for the daily. At some point, they're gonna have to do a daily where it's just like Blue's just automatically gonna lose because they have less people, and that's fine. Like they should. Like they shouldn't try to even it out so much. Like maybe some weeks, but some weeks it's like, look, you guys can't. You should lose. Go win elimination if you want to like even things up a little bit.
Yeah, I mean it's in terms of the throwing, you'd have to have a daily kind of like the way it shook out with that trivia one, like the Guess Who one, because you're competing for first or second or what, I don't know.
Yeah.
It would have to like come down to heats where you like could know that you could like lose. Like they'd have to establish the first place.
Yeah.
It's over engineered probably.
A little bit.
Blue boiling themselves down to a very simple strategy. Let's win.
Love it. Let's win. Except for Annalie's strategy is why is Cara the captain and I don't know.
Figure it out. Back to Annalie. Yeah. You want to slot Brad in your most likely to return rankings?
So we got Brad, Cedric, and who's the girl that lost already? Yeah,
exactly.
she's
Riley.
Riley's last. I mean, honestly, probably Brad is more likely to come back than Cedric. I would want it to be the other way, but I mean, Brad is Wednesday has 15 years history on the show, or 15 seasons history on the show, so he's probably more likely to come back than Cedric is.
In this right image, still on the screen right now, I look like I'm 6'5" and you're 2 feet tall.
I'm sitting back a little bit.
Yeah, like yeah, I actually I'm gonna put Cedric. I was really torn. I put Cedric above Brad only because of the way they went out. The swan song versus the you will have a chance to return. You're the nicest person on earth and you will have your day. I was like, all right, I'm putting Cedric number 1.
Yeah. I hope that's the case, but I don't know. It's tough. Brad always he finds a way to get on these seasons. I don't know how he does it, but here he is.
And here we are at the end of this episode.
Here we are. That's episode 3. You can subscribe. RHAPiswebsite.com/challenge feed. Join the Facebook group. A lot of good conversations happening over there. Please do it. You can follow me on Twitter, Cohen_Brian_. We are on air, people. We're no longer on air, so anyone can just
off air.
The door. We're off air.
Don't follow me. I'm off air.
Anyone can just walk in the door. It's okay. We're off air. We'll be back next week for episode 4. Until then, have a good one.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.